Good morning, everyone. I'm Nadine Young, and this is breaking news. Earlier today, thousands of students across the country walked out of schools honoring those killed in the shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, and demanding stricter gun laws. 17 people were killed in that mass shooting a month ago today. The walkout began at 10 a.m. and lasted for 17 minutes. It's a nationwide student-led demonstration called #Enough. Sarasota High School, Riverview High School, and Manatee High School are a few of the schools on the Suncoast that participated in the demonstration. And SNN's Ben Bobick joins me now, and you were at Manatee High School. And so what was the general mood out there?
You know, I have to commend their staff there for how organized it was. The kids came out at 10 o'clock promptly and kind of stood on the steps right in front of the school. And at first, you know, kids were filing out, and it was pretty amazing to see how many that there were. There were hundreds of students, and they were supposed to be set up in 3 locations, and they end up all coming to sort of the middle concourse at Manatee High. And I think the right term to say is how peaceful it was. They, I know a young student had a few things to say. They were chanting, you know, enough is enough. They had signs made that were honoring all 17 that were killed. And I think what was the most remarkable to see was how many people there were.
And was it you said it's very organized out there. Everybody knew what they were supposed to do. What about the filing in process? Was that as organized as well? Everybody getting back to class as well?
Yes, they did a really good job about kind of keeping the right barriers. There was administration out there, I don't want to use the term guarding the gates, but I have to, just because it's kind of, you know, they were just standing by, I guess
making sure everybody was okay.
And kind of keeping it organized. But the thing was, you know, they didn't even need to you know, no one really made it hard on them. Everyone came and they kind of gathered and had said what they needed to say and did what they needed to do, and it was pretty powerful. I think what was really something else to keep an eye on, or not to keep an eye on, but something else that we chat with 2 women that were actually outside the campus on the street. Former teachers at the school come to support these children who were coming out here and walking out. They had signs of their own made, which was absolutely, I mean, it was pretty telling to see that these kids, these 15, these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids are inspiring former teachers to come back to school and join them. You know, they weren't on campus, but they were outside. You could see there all the signs that they had made, and they just, like, again, very organized. You could see some of the people that were killed there on their signs, and it was really telling.
And they're chanting enough is enough over there. And, you know, in a few years, they're in high school now, but they will have a voice in order to make changes in the future legislation that is our country right now.
Yeah, and one of those voices that we talked to, her name was by the name of Emma Manous, and we'll hear more about her a little bit later today. I know we're turning some stories on it, but it was really remarkable to talk to her, because she actually had a cousin who was in the school at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, when it happened. Wow. And she said that when he came out of the classroom, he saw one of his friends just lying on the ground. And to see the emotion in her face, and then her other friend that was there with her, and to see her see the emotion on these kids' faces as she said this, and you could really tell that it was really just eating at her, and that's what really kind of wrapped it all together, I mean, on why they're doing this. And, you know, and she kind of said something along the lines of, you know, when you're in a family group text and you don't know if your cousin's okay, it really brings things to light and puts things into perspective for you.
Wow. Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much for that. And Superintendent Todd Bowden for Sarasota County Schools was at Booker High School this morning, and he said it was important for students to have a voice. And here's more of what he had to say.
I'm 20 years into public education, and this is a movement unlike I've seen in my career. And so the challenge is not just the student voices, but the heightened awareness around safety and security that we continue at this high level for months and years to come. Typically, when an incident like Parkland happens, there's an immediate response, but somehow the awareness wanes over time. My hope is that this has been a unique response and that it will have some staying power.
And yes, the protest was intended to pressure Congress to approve gun control legislation. And just remember the victims who lost their lives in the Parkland shooting. And we will have more of this coverage tonight at 5 with Nicole and Grant. And so stick with us for any more information on SNNTV.com.